thank you for bearing with me on my media issues. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. So I wanted to let you know what AFEX stands for. That is Alternative Fairbanks Farm Education Cooperative Training Project. So what are we doing with this project, and why did we call it that? Because we have some of the goals and objectives of this project are to enhance the local food production system in Fairbanks and our surrounding area through our year-round production of local greens and vegetables, provide job training for farm labor, farm management, and entrepreneurship in both hydroponic and conventional farming methods as we can do that. And we want to offer classes to community members on growing their own food and ways to prepare that food. And we want to use this whole project to provide a model for other communities in Alaska and throughout the world, hopefully. That's looking at ways that you can involve your community in agriculture. So this project has a lot of partners in our community. Mainly, right, what you see in those logos are our main partners, but in reality, we have a lot of partners in the community. Our main partners are the University of Alaska, Cooperative Extension 4-H program. They're going to be helping us. Yukon Farm, obviously, because they're our farm that's going to be helping produce the food that we're working with. The food bank, we are working with providing the food bank with some fresh produce for their various programs. And hopefully we will be able to provide produce for other programs that are working with low-income folks in our community. We have a fabulous Vista who's working with our project right now. And she's super helpful. I couldn't do this project without her. Tessa is a godsend. And then we are working with Information Insights to evaluate how the program is working and help us with the recording side of it and evaluation process. So our funding comes through a USDA NEFA grant, which is a Community Foods Project grant. We were awarded a 3-year grant for this program, and we started in September. And we were so thrilled when we got called that we received this grant, that and because it was a few years in the making. But we wouldn't be able to do this project without the teamwork that we have put together. These folks all sat in June and we wrote this grant, and we said, well, what can we write and how can we put this together that it's going to be the most useful part to this community? At Soil and Water, what we do, why are we involved in this? Since that might be a question that you have. Soil and Water our mission is to help support local agriculture. And through that, we promote the wise development of conservation and conservation of natural resources. With this being a hydroponic project, but also conventional farming, hopefully put in there, we are supporting not just the farmer that we're working with, but hopefully other farmers in the community and hopefully farming projects statewide. So that it really fits within our mission, and we're hoping that this project we're just helping getting it going, and that the community will create an advisory council and a group that will help run the program after Soil and Water has gotten it on its feet. But our main partner with this project is Yukon Farms. And I'm going to hand it over to Will to explain a little bit more about his role in the project and what he's going to be doing at his farm. To you.
All right, so I'm Dr. Lotto again. As you can see, my background's pretty varied. I was a wildland firefighter for many years. I worked for National Science Foundation in Antarctica. Worked for FEMA with disasters. Then I moved over to specific disasters with USGS as Hawaii Volcano Observatory, Alaska Volcano Observatory. And then at UAF, now years back, there's the Sustainable Community Project, which was UAF's way of looking at our community and saying, how can we make our community and our state sustainable? Well, with budget cuts, it was one of those programs that wasn't as, been running for years and hadn't really produced much, so got cut. I took a lot of ideas from there and moved it into Yukon Farms. So what Yukon Farms is we are primarily a hydroponic farm that grows produce for the interior. The idea behind it is we are a decentralized farm. We have a farm here in Fairbanks. We have a farm in Delta. The farm in Delta is 10,000 square feet. The farm here is 2,000 square feet. But the idea is to be able to spread out a farm in various buildings. So some of the ideas we're working on for buildings are the old Gottschalk's building, the old Kmart building, turning those into farms. And we're coming up with ways to turn any old box store or even in a mall into a farming area and setting up a lot of the, I guess, we're breaking the trail because when you go to insurance and say, I want to open up a farm in a mall, they usually laugh at you first. And then when they see you're serious, they start getting serious and start talking to you about what do you need. So there's a lot of the things like that that Yukon Farms has been doing. And with that, our goal has always been to do education for the community. I don't want to be the only farm doing this in Alaska. You know, Seeds of Change, various other hydroponic farms in Anchorage, Juneau, Ketchikan. There's a lot of good farms going. But with all this going, we still only produce about 3% of our produce here in Alaska. So I want you all to envision this. You walk into a mall, walk past various stores, and you walk past a farm. Hydroponic farm, vertical, floor to ceiling, racks and racks of growing plants, including, besides the lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, things we all know, bananas, pineapples, citrus. You can grow just about anything in hydroponics. I have which I hope to get going at some point, is Arctic grown bananas. They have their first flower right now and are producing bananas here in Fairbanks in the winter. If we can get more people into this where we can grow anything we want, we're looking at a $2 billion industry that we send money out of state for. We can keep $2 billion here and get it to people in our communities. I'm all for it. I don't want to be the one doing it all. I like having time off. I want all of you to be doing it, not me. I'll do my part. I'll train people. I'll have my farm, but we need everyone working together. It's better for our community. One of the things I used to do is renewable power. Down in Delta, we're setting up at a wind farm. We take power directly from wind generators. And with that, our cost of growing produce is 1/3 the price it is here in Fairbanks, which, you know, energy costs here are already high, drop it down a lot going to a co-located system. Rural villages. This is one of the things, I used to live in some of the villages, doing fire and trainings. I know how hard it is out in the villages. I know how hard it is here to get ahead of lettuce. And it shouldn't be. So if we can get even into villages, systems that can be growing produce for the village. With that, it's hydroponics, agriculture. You know, it could be, you know, working with various groups. You know, one group wants to raise caribou. You know, so they can actually have that with their farm, raising chickens, pigs. I've talked to many farmers around of their biggest thing is they can't grow enough volume to sell to Safeway, Fred Meyer's, or something like that. But if we all start working together and all start growing together, we can actually go into Fred Meyer, and that can be all Alaskan grown. And, you know, for a lot of my produce, from the time you get it to the time you say pick it up at Roaming Root, it's there maybe 3 to 4 hours after I harvest it. So we can have that here. You know, homegrown training, how to grow in your house. You know, what different ways. You can grow even in a big pot with soil you dug from your backyard or down by the river. You have something you can grow with. Citizen researcher. So coming from university background, I love doing research, but I also know that every single person can do research. You know, if you know, my 7-year-old, she planted radishes and then watered them with different things and gave them different light to see what would happen. That's research. If you know just a little bit of guidance, you can be doing full university level research in home, you know, or wherever you have, at your work, at your desk at work, you could be doing it. So there's a lot of things that can be done in agriculture and training, and we're just trying to get the training out there. The other big thing for Yukon Farms, we're all about corporate responsibility, is most farm workers are paid minimum wage or less, because in most agriculture, you're allowed to pay less than minimum wage. And with our farm, we're also trying to prove that paying a living wage to farm workers is possible without affecting the price that you pay in the store. So that's one of the things we do at Yukon Farms, is showing to other farms, other people who are starting to grow their own company, is you can do this without losing your company or still making a profit. You can still do that. So one of the things that you'll see me doing a lot, obviously I'm going to be putting together a lot of the classes and then teaching a lot of them, but you'll also see me asking a lot of questions, because the more answers I have from you, such as our surveys, the better I can make the trainings. So please, please, please do the surveys.
Fill out the surveys. All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our project, because this isn't a new idea. We were inspired by another program in Alaska, down in Anchorage, called Alaska Seeds of Change. And a couple years ago, as part of a presentation I did at the Sustainable Agriculture Conference down in Anchorage, I got to go visit the Alaska Seeds of Change program with some folks who were very interested in agriculture in the classroom, which is one of the hats I wear at Soil and Water. And I was blown away by their program, because what they were doing was not only growing vegetables and produce, they were working with a community in need there in Fairbanks, and that was the homeless teens. And they provided a volunteer outlet for folks in the community, and then they provided fresh vegetables and produce throughout Anchorage. And I looked at it and I said, we need something like this in Fairbanks, because we have a need for it here, and there's a great desire for people to want to help out. We have a great volunteer population here who loves to work at the food bank and other places. And I'm very interested in food security, being on the Alaska Food Policy Council, and I thought this is just the perfect thing that we could see about getting going. And I brought together a group of people who, from the community, who said they were very interested in this project. And we sat down and wrote out a list of all the things we would like to see happen with a project like this in Fairbanks. We had a conversation with the folks from Alaska Seeds of Change. They gave us a lot of advice and a way to start. And that was the basis for us writing the grant. So it was a wonderful inspiration, and I still am in touch with Ryan Whitten, who is the farm manager down there, and he's so excited about us doing this project here because that is what they wanted to see. Is it the idea spread through communities throughout Alaska, and so we're picking up the flag and doing it up here, and hopefully we can inspire other programs in other parts of the state. So the two main parts of this project are the training program. So like Will said, he's working on training courses, and we're looking into potential for a certification, both for students that might come through as an intern through the high school, as well as adults. So having a certified training program is one of our ideas to come out of this. And we want other farmers to give us some feedback on what they would like to see as far as a certification. What kind of employees would they hire, and what training would they want to see in them? We've already started asking some of our local farmers if this was something they might be interested in. And then the other piece is providing classes, not just for people who want job training, but just anybody who wants to increase their food security at home. We all know with COVID right now, there's a big push with, we're worried if something happened with our supply line, what are we gonna have for food? Growing your own food and processing your own food, gathering your own food in the wild is invaluable. So we are working with a number of different educators, and if anybody out there wants to entertain us with a thought of a class they would like to teach on food security, please talk to us. And we want to make the classes accessible and free. We're looking at doing the classes here in the clubhouse, as well as at the farm itself when that classroom gets put together. So these are some of the ideas that we came up with in the meeting that we had with all those folks. And we talked about the job training. We talked about the workshop classes. We want to do some outdoor garden projects. We want to provide fresh produce for some of the anti-hunger programs throughout Fairbanks. We want to look at increasing produce sales to local businesses, restaurants, and individuals, trying really hard not to compete with any of the farms that are already doing it, to hopefully fulfilling a niche that isn't being filled during the year. We want to host and showcase food security projects that are happening throughout the community, not just classes on how to do stuff, but if somebody's doing a really cool project that increases food security, we want to invite them to share that with people who are interested in this program. We are looking into communal food, cold storage for folks, not just farmers, but individuals who are growing a garden and they want to have a place. They don't have enough storage space at their own homes, but they might be able to rent that space at the farm to keep their potatoes or things that can be extend their life throughout the winter. And then we're looking at integrating with school groups coming, hopefully when COVID is all done, coming for visits, looking at setting up experiments on the farm with classes from our local schools. And then as Will mentioned, we're part of the grant is hopefully encouraging 4 satellite locations for hydroponic farms throughout Fairbanks area, because he doesn't want to do it all himself. He wants other people to do it. So with that, I want to open it up now for your ideas and questions about the project and what you would like to see or ideas that you have.